So I think I'm good to just high horsepower and Wicked Blow into slow bro. Terra Ghost, okay. We missed the high horsepower. Wicked Blow doesn't quite KO, so missing that high horsepower could become a problem for sure. They get their Trick Room. So the Europe International Championship was this past weekend. Massive international event in terms of competitive prestige, one step down from Worlds. And when I say massive, I believe this was, once again, the largest VGC event in history by number of participants. I've heard 1,200, 1,400, let's say about 1,300 players, all gathered in, I think, London, competing hard to win it all. And if you're watching this channel, you probably know what happened. But you really, if you're the Pokemon Company, you really couldn't have asked for a more storybook final, right? Koraidon and two past Paradox Pokemon against Miraidon and two future Paradox Pokemon. Just in a head-to-head clash on one of the biggest possible stages. Winner take all. Very excited, energized crowd. It was a lot of fun to watch. I've actually only watched the final so far. I'll get back to some of the other sets later. But yeah, that final alone was really something. It was a real spectacle. And actually, the narrative really kind of writes itself because you had arguably the GOAT, the veteran player who's had so much success on the past team, and an up-and-coming, seemingly newer, definitely less accomplished player, but still playing absolutely out of their mind on the future side of things. So we might have seen a real Scarlet versus Violet, past versus future clash there. And this time, the past narrowly took it, but you never know what the future might hold. Anyway, this is the runner-up team with Miraidon, a restricted Pokemon that I'm generally not very good with. I find it generally the hardest to use of all the top restricteds, but this team, I mean, I watched this player do an incredible job in the final. Again, narrowly losing, but just phenomenal gameplay throughout. So maybe that'll inspire me to, activate my brain and get going with this Miraidon team here. I'm just going to address up front that I don't have Dill's EV spreads. I even thought about delaying the video because to see if they're released within the next week, but then, what if they're not? Doesn't really seem worth it. But more than ever, we are going to suffer a little bit for that because there's definitely a ton of nuance in the way that this team is built that I'm not going to figure out myself. I do know that it's a slower, bulkier Miraidon, so that's what I've put in my very simple spread in the builder. And I went back to the top 8 set to check what stat the Iron Treads was boosting with Quark Drive, so I can confirm that it is speed. That means it has higher speed than attack, and I've accounted for that in the builder as well, but otherwise, I just slap some spreads together as I do. But this team has a ton of tricks. Like I said, a ton of nuance. The slower Miraidon can play really nicely in Trick Room against something like Koraidon, like we saw in the final, or even a Shadow Rider Calyrex or something. And then you have another powerhouse in the Iron Hands, taking advantage of that electric terrain. You have single strike Urshifu with a focus sash, hitting opponents hard left and right. And not the rapid strike form that a lot of players expect. If I run into anyone on the ladder who hasn't been watching EUIC, they might be fooled by that at preview. The choice banned Iron Treads. I mean, I haven't watched a set where it actually played because it didn't show up in the final, but I can only imagine it hits extremely hard. And of course, it'll be very fast in electric terrain. Iron Treads has always been kind of quietly a good Pokemon that's just not necessarily one of the best or most splashable in the meta, but I'm not really surprised to see it putting in work here. There's the Rocky Helmet Incineroar with 4 attacks, so it could just be an Assault Vest set, but the Rocky Helmet, I'm sure, is valuable to cover something. Maybe like Rillaboom and Urshifu stuff from other teams. But yeah, this Incineroar definitely got my attention in the final by clicking U-turn, which meant that it could pivot out. And it doesn't get the stat drops from a parting shot, but it did in one game break Focus Sash on Flutter Mane while also pivoting itself out. And speaking of pivoting, I mean, this Roar for Farigiraf is really something to take in. Roar can be valuable. Roar is not a move that you see very often in VGC, but it can be valuable in a few ways, right? If Farigiraf gets an opening to force out an opponent that's set up, that can be good. It might be helpful into Ice Rider with the Water Terra, but that's relatively unlikely to actually work out because opponents will see it on your team sheet, play around it. Again, I'll probably be playing closed team sheet today, but in an open team sheet event, I think the more interesting use of Roar in VGC is that it is a way to deny Trick Room. Roar has negative priority, but it still has higher priority than Trick Room. And so if they try to set it when you don't want that, or they try to reverse yours, might be more likely on this team. Again, it's pretty situational, but you can roar them out to deny that. That said, I think the best use of roar, or the most interesting one at least, and one that I'd never thought of myself before, is the one that we saw in the final, where Farigiraf roared its own teammate. It used a side roar to guarantee a safe negative priority pivot in that other team slot. And which is valuable when you have Pokemon like Miraidon, which this one is bulky, but it's still not the sturdiest restricted Pokemon out there. Urshifu wants to preserve its Focus Sash. Iron Treads probably doesn't want to be taking a ton of hits. So having that pivot, having that pivoting move that is guaranteed to go after every attack that the opponent throws at you. Again, all of these uses of Roar are situational, but that is potentially very powerful, and we did see that in the final. So yeah, I really enjoyed... You know what? I've talked long enough. Let's just get on the ladder. Definitely the hometown favorite team from EUIC. The crowd was chanting loudly for Dill. I was going to say throughout, but let's be honest, it got a little bit quieter when the set started to turn around. But even so, I've never seen a crowd like that. I've seen some good crowds at VGC events, but that I think was the best one so far. Anyway, what are some of my Terra types? It's Poison Iron Hands. That's right. We saw that in the final, didn't we? Okay. So this is a Koraidon team. It's got the Hisui and Lilligant, which can be a bit of an issue. How do I lead into this? Farigiraf Incineroar is probably pretty good. Again, taking inspiration from that final. I can just lead the Miraidon, and that might actually be valuable to deny Sleep Powder and to offensively threaten Tornadus if they lead with that, but there are some holes in that idea. I think I like Farigiraf Incineroar, Miraidon in the back, and I have about 35 seconds to pick another Pokemon. Single Striker Shifu is probably okay here, but they definitely have some threats into it. Iron Hands. Iron Hands is good if I get Trick Room up, actually. Oh, Iron Treads is kind of nice into the Raging Bolt. And the Flutter Mane. You know what? It's the first game of the video, and Iron Treads is one of the more interesting and unusual Pokemon on this team. Let's bring it. Sometimes that's how we decide things here, right? So they do just lead Koraidon, Raging Bolt. Let's see if it's Clear Amulet Koraidon. We know that's not a sure thing these days. But this one is. Okay. But I would like to just get a Trick Room if I can. So I'm going to fake out the Raging Bolt. I don't think Koraidon... Maybe Koraidon... Maybe I should Terra Ghost so that Koraidon can't knock out Incineroar as reliably. We definitely go for Trick Room here. I think I will Terra Ghost and fake out Raging Bolt. And that's just to make sure that Farigiraf... Yeah, see, we avoid any collision course damage there. We just make sure that Farigiraf gets the Trick Room up. I can click Psychic into Koraidon here. I can Roar Incineroar to get Miraidon in safely. I can chip Raging Bolt. I actually think I like the idea of roaring Incineroar. And I'll go for a knockoff into somebody. Let's knock off Koraidon to make sure we have some damage on it. So the knockoff will come out, of course, before the roar because of roar's negative priority. And if Incineroar survives this turn, which it definitely will. Yep, now I get Miraidon in. Miraidon is slower than Koraidon, probably. But probably not slower than Raging Bolt. So maybe it's not ideal that I don't have my Terra available here. I actually could just switch Incineroar right back in, get an Intimidate into Koraidon. But I'm kind of wasting my own Trick Room turns then. I'm going to risk a Helping Hand Dazzling Gleam play. This might lose me the game, but it's a nice spectacle if it works. Dragon Pulse. Oh, okay, Bulky Miraidon narrowly survives that Dragon Pulse. Does a lot of damage back. Knocks out Koraidon. Yeah, so that actually worked out pretty nicely. The restricted Pokemon is gone now. They can't Fake Out, but they can just Dragon Pulse Miraidon again, but not if I Psychic and just switch to Incineroar here. Yep. Oh, they tried to Fake Out, but obviously that doesn't work, and we get rid of the Raging Bolt. Now there's Flutter Mane. I still have one turn left of Trick Room. I can just Flare Blitz the Flutter Mane. I'll even give it a Helping Hand, actually. And then I just have to clean up Incineroar in the back, but I have Trick Room will end. I have Miraidon, and I have Iron Treads. So pretty solid offensive threats into Incineroar there. I do have to actually get rid of the Flutter Mane first, though. Helping Hand boosted Flare Blitz. Knocks it out. Nice. See what I mean? This is... I mean, there are parts of this team that look kind of standard. It's definitely not like a super standard team. I miscounted my electric terrain turns. I actually should have brought Miraidon in next turn. But it doesn't really matter at this point. Just Electro Drift. Yeah, but there's definitely a lot of creativity baked into this team. And this is, I mean, not to get all preachy when it's not like I'm a super accomplished VGC player, but this is something that I think some people miss sometimes. They see a lot of familiar Pokemon dominating competition. 4 of these Pokemon, 5 if you counter Shifu. You actually should counter Shifu. It's a different form from the most common one, but Single Strike still gets a lot of play, and it's still an Urshifu. So 5 of these Pokemon are extremely common in the meta. A bunch of them won Worlds together. Iron Treads is a little bit unusual, but it's still a strong Paradox Pokemon. But even so, when you dig below the surface just a little bit with this team, there's a lot of creativity, a lot of nuance into how it's built. It has a ton of tricks, and I don't know, I really appreciate seeing a team like this. It really speaks to what a varied game Pokemon is, how broad really every format is once you understand it well enough. I'm not even saying I understand Regulation G that well, right? But I'm just using somebody else's team here. And how much room there is for creativity in Pokemon. Anyway, rant over. How do I beat Kyogre? That's actually pretty tough, because maybe I want a Trick Room in front of it. I might have to Terrasilize Farigiraf, so that Farigiraf can hopefully take a Water Spout. I don't know for sure that works. I could lead Urshifu, actually, and just, like, click Wicked Blow right away into Kyogre. Although that kind of changes their incentives. They might see the Focus Sash coming. And I don't want them to double target Farigiraf, so I think I can't lead Farigiraf and Urshifu. I think I have to pick one, if you follow what I'm saying there. I actually could lead Iron Hands, Farigiraf. Then I have the Fake Out pressure. Yeah, I like that. Fake Out, threaten Kyogre with Fake Out, and then I should have a safe Trick Room. I'll still bring Urshifu in the back, and I think Miraidon for sure. We are facing Rillaboom and Landorus here, but I still think Miraidon for sure. But I don't know this matchup. I might have gotten it wrong. It's actually all that. I was worried about the Tornogre lead. It's actually Landorus, Volcarona, which is hard for this lead combination of mine to deal with. And the fact that I have... Well, actually, I mean, at face value, this whole team is pretty Landorus weak, right? So maybe I should have taken more seriously the possibility that they might lead with it. I have 3 ground weaknesses. They're 3 of my strongest Pokemon. Actually, I have 4 ground weaknesses. And no resist. Actually, even after Terra, right? It's Terra Poison, Iron Hands, so it's still ground weak after that. Anyway, we'll try to make this work, though. I'll just Trick Room and Fake Out the Landorus. I am buying the Volcarona time to get set up if it wants. Ah, it's Will-O-Wisp. That's a bit awkward for me, but it might be preferable, actually, to them clicking Quiver Dance. Anyway, and I can play a little bit more recklessly with the Iron Hands, I think, because it's not that valuable anymore. So I'm just going to Psychic, and... What is my best attack into Landorus? Is it actually Heavy Slam? I think so. Is there no electric attack on this Iron Hands? I didn't notice that until now. Okay, well, that's pretty smart of them to kill a turn of Trick Room. Bug Buzz on the Volcarona. So I'm definitely on the back foot here, but what I'm potentially setting up for is, one of my Pokemon goes down, and I get Miraidon in, and I can maybe Terra Fairy and Dazzling Gleam. Actually, that's not strong into Volcarona. Because it's Fairy Resist. Volcarona Landorus is actually a real problem for this team, at least from what I can see, but maybe I'm just playing it wrong, right? You never know. Anyway, I get another... There's the Rage Powder. So it's fully a support Volcarona. Okay. Don't get any additional damage into Landorus, but they knock out Iron Hands and not Farigiraf, which I think is preferable here. The other thing about Dazzling Gleam is that they could Terra the Urshifu, but I think I'm just gonna, or the Landorus, but I think I'm just gonna have to chance it because I'm really on the back foot here. I could also start dropping Draco Meteors, but I feel like I'm too far behind for that to work out because I have to deal with the special attack drops then. So I am just going to Helping Hand, Terra Fairy, Dazzling Gleam, and hope for the best. is what this comes down to. At least I know it's not Struggle Bug Volcarona. And they actually switch out. I mean, okay, they'll turn off my Hadron Engine boost, but Rillaboom ought to take more from the Dazzling Gleam than Volk does. Did about half. Of course, it gets some Grassy Terrain recovery. Still have 1 turn left of Trick Room. I probably want... I think I want to just pivot Urshifu in, even though that means giving up its Focus Sash. Man. I don't know. Yeah, I think I have to try to win this with Miraidon. So, I'll Psychic Volcarona and I'll switch to Urshifu on this last turn of Trick Room. I mean, again, I'm pretty far behind. I have been for a while. Might not work out, but... I mean, I am chipping these Pokemon, and I do... Okay, Farigiraf goes down. That means I get Miraidon in now. It's changed the terrain. Volcarona will still resist the Dazzling Gleam, but Volcarona is pretty low at this point, so we'll just Dazzling Gleam anyway. And I think there's a decent chance Rillaboom switches out, so I'm going to Wicked Blow that slot. Yeah, here's the Kyogre. Volcarona protects. Yeah, fair enough. But double up into Kyogre knocks it out. Of course, I can't protect Miraidon because of the choice specs, so I just have to click Dazzling Gleam, and they're probably going to fake Miraidon out. But that kind of frees me to click Wicked Blow into Volcarona, I think. Or do I need to Sucker Punch? I'm not confident that the Volcarona will attack, though. It's a bit of a read. Well, is there any downside to Sucker Punch, then? Because they can Will-O-Wisp, but then I'm just kind of cooked by that anyway. Unless it's a slow, bulky Volcarona, that's the possibility. I'm still going to Wicked Blow. They Rage Powder, okay. Oh, they Grassy Glide or Shifu. They both survive the Dazzling Gleam in grassy terrain. And Rillaboom will take another one. Probably. Yeah. So they finish Miraidon off here, but... After a rough start to that game, I actually got it pretty close, I think. Oh, yeah. It was 0-0 in the end. It doesn't get any closer than that. The way these things are resolved, of course, ties are extremely rare in VGC. That is a loss for me, but, you know, I think I battled back about as well as I could after a rough start there. And I don't necessarily know how this team deals with Landorus. It is, as soon as I saw it on the field there, I realized it's a real threat here. Yeah, I don't necessarily know the Landorus matchup. Maybe you just have to Draco Meteor it as soon as possible or something. Anyway, here's a Koraidon, Galarian, Weezing team. That seems to be a thing now. I might feature one from EUIC as well. I think I probably will. How do I play into this? I mean, the Farigiraf Incineroar lead looks pretty good again. Right? For the same reason as it was in the first game. And again, I think I like the Trick Room here. Weezing will probably be the slowest Pokemon, but then, I mean, Koraidon's fast, Fluttermane's fast, Tornadus wants to play a fast game. We bring Miraidon for sure. And I think we bring Iron Hands to this one. You can hit a lot of these Pokemon hard, especially in Trick Room. Alright, Farigiraf, Incineroar, Koraidon, Galarian, Weezing. Okay. Weezing could be running Taunt, right? So awkward though it is, I think this is another one where I Terrasilize Incineroar turn 1. I don't think I lose too much from that in this matchup. And although it might seem intuitive to taunt to fake out the Koraidon, I'm pretty sure Farigiraf will take a hit from it, and I actually think I need to fake out the Weezing because again, decent chance it has Taunt. So we'll fake out in Trick Room. Almost forgot to Terrasilize Incineroar. Nice. Could have a Covert Cloak, I guess. Never mind. Rocky Helmet. This one's a close combat Koraidon. But that means it's not going to take the Psychic super well after the Trick Room goes up. I think I am down to just Psychic it. And I can U-turn. I can Knock Off. I can Flare Blitz for damage into Weezing. Are they even keeping Koraidon in here? Let's Psychic the Wheezing. Let's try to get damage into the Wheezing. Yeah, they switched Koraidon out. There's no Intimidate, of course, because they're turning off their own Incineroar's ability. Wheezing will go down here. It actually was slower than Farigiraf. So we both get our Intimidates now. Their Incineroar is not too badly positioned here against two Dark weaknesses, but getting rid of the Wheezing is very nice for me. The Koraidon is back now, but... Oh. I have these two speed tying. I didn't realize that when I was throwing some spreads together. Well, it's fine, right? I'm gonna see if let's see what they let me do here. Okay, big Psychic into Koraidon, and they don't even knock out Farigiraf after that because of the ton of physical bulk that I've given it. But given that Farigiraf and Incineroar are speed tying, that means their Incineroar is as well. So it's now a three-way speed tie. The next turn could have been interesting, but it's not going to be because they forfeited. But that felt pretty solid apart from the silly speed stuff. Alright, this is some hard Trick Room Origin Dialga stuff here. So I probably don't want to be running my own Trick Room. I actually think this might be a good time for a Miraidon Iron Treads lead. Or maybe I don't lead Miraidon because they have the Psychic Terrain lead available to them. I could lead Urshifu Iron Treads. I do have Steel Roller on Iron Treads, so I actually have the option to break their terrain that way. I think I like Urshifu Iron Treads. Even outside of electric terrain, Iron Treads is faster than Urshifu. If I see, say, just hypothetically in DD Armarouge, I can Steel Roller in DD and maybe get a Wicked Blow into Armarouge. I think that's pretty strong here. It's very threatening into a lot of their options. I'll bring Miraidon. I almost clumsy clicked Farigiraf there without actually having chosen what I want the last Pokemon to be. I think Incineroar might actually be the call here. Strong into Armarouge, can intimidate Ursaluna. We'll bring Incineroar. But yeah, we're going for more of an offensive lead here. And probably one that's a little bit unusual for this team, but it's nice to have these other modes available. It's actually Slowbro and Ursaluna in the lead, but I can attack the Slowbro and try to deny Trick Room while taking advantage of the fact that Ursaluna doesn't have its burn yet. So I think I'm good to just high horsepower and Wicked Blow into Slowbro. Terra Ghost, okay. We missed the high horsepower. Wicked Blow doesn't quite KO, so missing that high horsepower could become a problem for sure. They get their Trick Room. If I didn't go for Iron Head because Slowbro resists. I mean, I didn't need that much more damage. Maybe I should have anyway, but yeah, if I land that high horsepower, they don't get Trick Room up, so that's pretty unfortunate. I can Sucker Punch the Ursaluna now, though. I think that's worthwhile. The Slowbro might attack. I might even want to think about Terra Ghost Iron Treads to take a hit from Slowbro. Slowbro's not that strong. We'll try again to high horsepower it, and yeah, I will just go for a Sucker Punch into Ursaluna. Oh, okay, they switched to Dialga. This could be a very good turn for me. Sucker Punch doesn't quite KO. They get 2 KOs. I don't get the high horsepower into Dialga. Oh well. And I can't fake out Ursaluna now. Was that actually a game-losing high horsepower miss? And alternatively, could I have won if I had terrestrialized Iron Treads? I don't know. Weird game. Game is hard. Pokemon is difficult. Pokemon, yeah, not easy. Pretty hard. I'm gonna Terra Fairy just on the off chance that I survive the earthquake. Dazzling Gleam and yeah, I can't fake out the Ursaluna, so we'll just go for a knockoff. But I'm pretty sure I just lose right now. But this is such a different game if I just land that turn 1 high horsepower. And high horsepower... Oh, okay. We got a couple of KOs. But I'm still not getting through these Trick Room turns. I don't think. Steel Beam Dialga. That's cool. I can't be mad at that. But yeah, that is... High horsepower, I think, is 95% accurate. And if I deny that Trick Room... I think that game goes very differently. But you can't dwell on these things, right? That's how Pokemon is. This person has 5 Pokemon, and none of them are restricted. They just forgot they're restricted Pokemon, I guess. Okay. Well, it looks like they want to get Palafin going. and not be bothered by physical attackers along the way. I feel like Therian Landorus might be easier to deal with than Incarnate. Only thing is it might have a Choice Scarf. But if it has a Choice Scarf, it doesn't have a clear amulet. So let's go Incineroar, Miraidon, actually. I just want to start clicking Electro Drift or Dazzling Gleam, depending on what I see turn 1 immediately. Actually, maybe just Dazzling Gleam to bypass redirection. And I'm going to bring Urshifu. It can take a hit, guaranteed, and crit the Landorus if I need. I kind of want to bring Iron Treads. Is that irresponsible into Palafin? Clear Amulet's probably on Palafin. Alright, let's bring Iron Hands. That feels a little bit safer here. Okay, Palafin and Incineroar lead. But this is basically okay. I'm gonna... Am I gonna fake out? I'm gonna U-turn. Yeah, I'm gonna U-turn the Palafin slot. I'm gonna knock off the Palafin slot, try to catch Landorus on the switch in, and just Electro Drift the Incineroar. I just want to start attacking. I mean, I knew they were probably gonna fake out Miraidon, but worth a shot, right? Do I catch Landorus on the switch in with this knockoff? Vivillon. That works too. Clefairy would have been nice as well. So there really was not much downside to that knockoff. We break Vivillon's Sash. I can start thinking about Dazzling Gleam now. Can I go for another knockoff from the Incineroar slot? I think that Pokemon might want to get off the field now. Because Vivillon supporting Incineroar is not that useful. Vivillon wants to support Palafin. Or maybe Landorus. And I do think I'm just going to start clicking Dazzling Gleam now. They don't have an immunity to that, unlike electric attacks. Plus, it has that spread damage. That just knocks out Vivillon. Incineroar, yeah, goes for Parting Shot. Okay. So I might want to pivot Miraidon out. But I'll get Palafin with a knockoff here. Assault Vest, interesting. And, okay, they show Clefairy. Let's see if they let me knock that off. Yeah, I think it's fine. Let's see if they let me knock Clefairy off, and I'll just go Iron Hands here. I'd like to get Intimidated to Palafin, but I don't think it's really that important. Liquidation, okay. I take Rocky Helmet Chip. Now I get Miraidon in. Might have to take a Jet Punch, but I mean, it's not boosted by an item or anything. So let's just Dazzling Gleam and Heavy Slam. Might as well, I think. Ooh, Liquidation crits, but it does not KO Miraidon. That bulk coming in handy again, and the Heavy Slam cleans up Clefairy. That just leaves Incineroar, and what I can do here is switch Miraidon out to Urshifu, and then if Miraidon comes back in, I don't think I will. It will, because the opponent just DC'd, but if Miraidon comes back in, I can reset the terrain and Electro Drift Incineroar. But really, Iron Hands is going to take this KO with Drain Punch. But really, they DC'd, so none of that's going to happen. I'm still thinking about that Slowbro game. But, again, that's Pokemon. That was a funny team. I really liked the Steel Beam Dialga. I thought, hey, maybe there's some way... You know, I don't really know what Dialga does. Maybe there's some way I get through this, but Steel Beam said nope. And of course, if I hadn't Terraslized Miraidon, then they could just Draco Meteor or something. Okay, yeah. Opponent DC'd instead of just forfeiting, but that only wastes a tiny bit of my time. No big deal. We got Psyspam with Kyogre and Rabombi. I like Rabombi. I used Rabombi in one of the early Sword and Shield formats. It was kind of a star of my team, but I can't really find much to do with it now, unfortunately. I'd like to use Rabombi again sometime. I guess what it does now is it has the ability Shield Dust, I think it's called, which is Covert Cloak the ability. So it's a Tailwind setter that can't be faked out and also can still run a Focus Sash. That's probably what it's here for. So what do I do about that? I could lead Incineroar for Farigiraf, fake out Kyogre if that's the lead. Set Trick Room. It's not that strong into an Indeedee Iron Crown lead. But I have ways around that. Incineroar, Farigiraf, Miraidon, and honestly I might... I was going to say I might want to bring Iron Treads, but no, I think this one's pretty straightforwardly Urshifu. Iron Treads would be nice potentially for breaking terrain, but I have other ways to fight for terrain control. Well, I have one other way. It's this motorbike here. Okay. They're going Iron Hands. Do I even really want to set Trick Room? I mean, the Iron Hands is their only Pokemon that's especially good in it. Well, Kyogre probably underspeeds Miraidon. There is that. Okay. Let's Psychic to break the Sturdy. Let's Psychic to chip Iron Hands and fake out Ogerpon. Spiky Shield, okay. Yeah, that was the reason not to do that, I guess. Get some chip there. Ooh, and a special defense drop. That's good. I kind of want to just sack Incineroar to get Miraidon in safely. So I think I'll do that, and I'll still try to break that Sturdy. Yeah, I'll just click U-turn into Iron Hands. Incineroar will probably be knocked out before it gets to do that. Oh, never mind. Now I'm bringing Miraidon in on a fighting type attack. That's kind of awkward, but that's how it's going to be. Saving Incineroar for later might not be the worst thing. The Electric Seed on Farigiraf. We break Sturdy. Get crit by Drain Punch. But I'm just going to Helping Hand and Dazzling Gleam here, I think. Iron Crown can switch in on it, but these two Pokemon probably just get annihilated. And I don't know if they brought Iron Crown the way they're playing this. We'll find out. Ooh, Ogerpon's faster than Miraidon. That's something I didn't account for, but I don't end up getting punished for it. So that's nice. They did bring Iron Crown with Indeedee. So I probably want to think about preserving the Miraidon here. I think I can just switch Incineroar in, right? You know what I can do? I can hard swap to Incineroar, and if they let me, I can side roar it out to get Miraidon back in. I don't know. I'm not confident that's going to work, but it's cool if it does, so let's try it. Terra Ground. Iron Crown. Okay, good to know. Ground Terra Blast, so I don't get the roar off, but it was a nice idea. What I do get is my Electric Terrain back. They can't set Psychic Terrain back up unless they have the manual move, which they probably don't. And I still have Urshifu with its Sash intact in the back. The Iron Crown could actually be faster than Miraidon. Here's hoping it isn't. It isn't. Okay. That Dazzling Gleam does a lot of damage. Doesn't quite get a KO, but now, I mean, I can just Wicked Blow and Psychic. I think that'll do it. I don't think they have enough time. Even if they survive this turn, I don't think they're taking out both of these Pokemon before they lose the game. Yeah, see, they break Urshifu's Sash there, but that means Farigiraf is still here to land the final attack into Iron Crown. Get another one. Rhydon, Okidogi, Fluttermane, Raging Bolt, Hearthflame Mask, Ogerpon, and Chi-Yu. So this is some Sun offense right here. I kind of want to fall back on the Farigiraf and Incineroar lead that's been very effective so far, and I think I will do that. But just be aware that I'm aware that it can be punished by Okidogi. I'm just going to hope that doesn't happen. Bring Miraidon. Iron Treads. Okay, Iron Treads is kind of cool here, but not in Trick Room. So there's a bit of a synergy issue there. Maybe... There's no Protect on the Iron Treads, of course. Iron Treads can do a lot here, but yeah, I'm just worried about bringing it in the Trick Room. I'm gonna bring Iron Hands. Kind of chickening out, but... Yeah. If this doesn't work out, maybe there was an Iron Treads mode that I should have found instead. This is a little bit awkward because I can't fake out the Flutter Mane, but let's fake out Koraidon and go for Trick Room. Oh. No, actually I don't have to Terastallize Incineroar this time because I'm faking out the fighting type. It also got intimidated, so it's not a clear Amulet Koraidon. It just switches out to Okidogi. Okidogi wishes it were on the field a turn earlier. Special attack drop's actually a little awkward. I will go for a Psychic into Okidogi anyway. If that forces out the Terra, so be it. And we'll just try to Flare Blitz this Flutter Mane if they'll let me. Try to remove a couple of threats before Miraidon hopefully cleans up. There is the Terra on the Okidogi. Sash Flutter Mane. They don't remove anything this turn. But they might not either. No. Okay. And here, I think I'm down to Psychic Flutter Mane and U-turn Okidogi. Get some nice chip and maybe get Iron Hands in. Threaten that Dark type there. Okay, they switch Flutter Mane out. That could be a problem later for sure. Flutter Mane might give me some real trouble in the end game, but we'll see. Switch in. Okay, hypothetically, let's say I switch Incineroar in. Low Kick is just not that strong into Okidogi, though. I mean, I'm better off clicking Drain Punch, I think. Okay, maybe I can't hard switch in Incineroar. Maybe we just Helping Hand and Drain Punch Okidogi here. If they switch to Flutter Mane, I'm probably cooked. But okay, they don't. Ah, they follow me. Well, we knocked that out. That's good. I was worried the Ogre Pawn was going to start just wrecking things with Ivy Cudgel. I will definitely take that Follow Me instead. Here's the Koraidon. It can't Terastallize. I'm down to get a Psychic into it before Farigiraf goes down. I have Fake Out Pressure in the back from Incineroar, so not having Trick Room anymore. I mean, I don't think there's anything I can do about it, really. I think getting this last attack off is worthwhile. Keep trying to weaken the Okidogi. Ah, that might have been the turn to click Heavy Slam into that slot, actually. Okay, I'll let Farigiraf go down here, realistically. Do I want to Terra Poison Iron Hands? I actually think I probably do. So I can survive a Moonblast from Flutter Mane. And Iron Hands, I don't think it super often runs a Fairy Resist Terra type. It probably runs Fire sometimes, but yeah, they might not see this coming. Exactly, we take that Moonblast like it's nothing. Oh, they miss a Scale Shot into Farigiraf. That's huge. I get the Trick Room back. Alright, we are now so back from that high horsepower miss a few games ago. Yeah, they just forfeit. Fair enough. Okay. Another. Torn Ogre. What did I say about Torn Ogre in an earlier game? That I like Fake Out Pressure and Trick Room? I mean, I seem to like that in a lot of matchups with this team, which is good. It's nice to have a go-to tech. This one is trickier, though, because they have a Farigiraf, so Fake Out Pressure is not that pressuring anymore. Maybe I need some kind of Urshifu lead here. Be able to take the hit and damage Kyogre. You know what I can do? I can lead Urshifu with a Fake Out user, like maybe Iron Hands. And then I can Fake Out, if it's Torn Ogre lead, I can Fake Out Wicked Blow, and, you know, some part of that plan probably works. Whatever adjustment they make. I think I've convinced myself. Let's lead Urshifu Iron Hands here. Or do I want Incineroar, actually? Excuse me. Yeah, Incineroar or Urshifu. Incineroar will intimidate Rillaboom if they lead that, or their Chanpao, or their Urshifu. Miraidon in the back, and do I still want Farigiraf? You know what? No, I want Iron Treads. Okay, Rapid Strike Urshifu and Kyogre lead. I can lose to this. If they, like, switch in Farigiraf and start surging striking my Pokemon. But I'm going to go for Fake Out into Urshifu, Wicked Blow into Kyogre. Okay. See, again, what I was trying to make sure of was that they can't knock out my Urshifu turn 1. It actually is faster than Kyogre. Although they didn't go for Water Spout, so that doesn't matter that much here. But that's good. That means I'm threatening a KO into Kyogre immediately now. And let's just try to keep the pressure up by bringing in Miraidon. I can Electro Drift something. I can Volt Switch. Ooh, I actually really like Volt Switch here because they're under a lot of pressure. They might want to switch something out. I can get Iron Treads in electric terrain. I like Volt Switch here, I think. And yeah, I'll just go for another Wicked Blow into Kyogre. No need to overthink it. They can switch it out if they want, but then something else has to take that. Of course, they can't protect around Wicked Blow. Okay, they switch Rillaboom into that slot, so damage on Rillaboom is nice. Terra Normal Farigiraf, no longer weak to the Wicked Blow, but that's not where I was targeting it anyway. I get Iron Treads in, actually without the favorable terrain up. But now here they set Trick Room. Oh, I might be able to lose to that, yeah. Yeah, I might lose to this Trick Room. It's possible, because I can't Sucker Punch. My Pokemon are going to be faster than theirs generally, I think. I kind of want to click Steel Roller into this Farigiraf. Just try to get rid of it so that I can click Priority again and Detect here with Urshifu. So that it's still here to click Priority when I have that back online. They Fake Out Iron Treads. That's not good for me, but I don't think they've noticed that it's Single Strike Urshifu. They just went for a Psychic type attack into it. Can I get away with this? Let's see. I don't think they noticed what form... Okay, they Protect. Ah, no, they got me. Killed some turns of their own Trick Room, but there's still 2 to get through. Miraidon is not Terastallized, which at least means it'll take a Grass-type attack better than before. I am now locked into Steel Roller. That's a real downside of going for that move. Oh well. We're going to click Dazzling Gleam, but we're not going to Terastallize just yet. But I want that spread damage, and I want it unresisted by Rillaboom. But I'm definitely on the back foot in this one. Psychic Noise into Iron Treads, that's okay. Stomping Tantrum into Miraidon, that's less okay, but we actually took that reasonably well. Unfortunately, Miraidon will not get Grassy Terrain recovery because I just broke the terrain. And now Iron Treads is useless for the rest of the game, by the way. So, lock into Steel Roller at your own risk. Either Miraidon just wins from here, or more likely, the whole team just loses. Steel Roller into Kyogre, but it doesn't matter because the attack won't execute. Iron Treads gets knocked out anyway. And actually, Trick Room ends here at pretty much the perfect time, but I'm just going to lose to the Rapid Strike Urshifu anyway. Probably as Aqua Jet, or even a Choice Scarf. But let's see. It could also have a Focus Sash. There are multiple ways I can lose to this Urshifu. But yeah, it's the first one I said, the Aqua Jet. And that is 3 losses in the video, so I'll call it there. But sometimes you pick up a team that did extremely well at a major tournament, and you can tell it's just built with so much care. It just feels extremely solid. It has so many game plans, so many flexible outs in different situations. And while I'm not necessarily giving the best showcases on this channel, this was definitely one of those teams. I felt very comfortable using this. And again, there are just a ton of intricacies in how it's built, not all of which I've been able to faithfully recreate here because I don't have the EV spreads. But even so, this was one of those amazing teams where you can understand just how it got to where it did. And huge props again to the player, Dill, who used this at EUIC. Got all the way to the final, very nearly won the whole thing. And showed some, I mean, I don't know what went into the team building process, but as far as I know, showed some real team building creativity along the way, not just with the Iron Treads, but also things like Roar Farigiraf and other techs throughout. This is a great team to start covering EUIC with. There will be 1 or 2 more featured here in the next couple weeks. And then I think Vancouver is pretty soon. So stick around for more tournament content, for sure.